Let's learn how to make these high and low frequency jug shakes on Premiere Pro. Before we begin, make sure your time base is at 15 frames per second. You can have it higher, for example at 24, however it's going to look different to my result. With that in mind, let's begin by preparing our clip. So I've already got mine here, which has been twisted. There are two parts to my clip, the first half and the second half. There is going to be a shake at the beginning, which is going to slow down over time and then speed up again once it reaches the middle, and then slow back down. So head over to your project tab and create an adjustment layer. So right click, new item, adjustment layer, and I'm going to go for a time base of 30 and click OK. Place it on top of your clip and extend it to match the duration. Now we're going to add the S shake effect, so search for S shake and add this onto the adjustment layer and head over to effect controls. I'm going to set the amplitude to 1 at the beginning, so just hit that stopwatch, head it to the middle, so just before the second half of your clip, and turn the amplitude all the way down to 0, so you should have 2 keyframes total so far. Now you want to move this second keyframe a few frames back. I'd say about 2 or 3 frames back from the second half, so 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to push it back. So this is where, as you can see, it starts to move again. So where my playhead is, I'm going to place another keyframe for the amplitude and set it to 1. Then head it to the end of your clip and set the amplitude to 0. Open up your graph, so just click on this tiny arrow next to the stopwatch and expand the bottom graph. So I'm just going to hover my cursor over this bar here and just expand it like so. Follow my steps. So first of all, right click the second keyframe and ease in. Then right click one more time and ease out. Right click the last keyframe and ease in. So far, here's how it looks. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. Starts off very fast, slows down, and then builds up again between these two keyframes. And then we finish it off by slowing it back down to 0. Now this part's all about experimentation because my settings might not work for your clip. So use this as a guide. First of all, I'm going to enable the motion blur. So click the box and decrease the motion blur length to about 0.1. At the moment, I'm going for a high frequency shake, so I don't need much motion blur, just a bit will do. Now I need to think about what kind of shake I want. Do I want it to be an X shake, which is left and right, or maybe a Y shake, which is up and down, or maybe both? For my example, I'm mostly going to prioritize the Y shake, which means decreasing the amount of X, which is left and right. So I'm going to open up the X shake settings just here and decrease the round amp to around 20. Then I'm going to open up the Y shake and increase this just a bit more to about, let's go 120. I'm going to skip the Z shake for now and open up the tilt shake. Instead of using the round amp, which is the top one, I'm going to use the wave. And all you need to do is just set it to a very small amount. Something like 1 should be enough. Okay, so let's see how it looks so far. Not bad at all. This looks pretty good. Now I'm going to make some adjustments. For example, I don't like how it continues to bounce around here. I want the shake to almost fully close off towards the end, which is here, which means we see less of it. So if I just place my playhead around here and look at the value of the amplitude, you can see it's 0.27. To decrease this, I'm going to click my last keyframe and just simply grab this handle. Now don't worry too much if you mess up and it goes too high. If anything, it's going to actually help rather than cause your shake to break. So I'm just going to pull it to the left, somewhere around here, and as you can see, it's already changing. So right now it's at 0, which might be a bit too low, and that's simply because if I just zoom in, well, it's not actually going to let me, but you can see that it's not leveled. So if I grab the handle again and just level it, you can see it's 0.021. It's a little bit confusing to understand, but just play around with the graph, see what works best. But I have now fixed the issue with the bounce and it looks much better overall. So if I just play it back, this is what it looks like and I think it looks perfect. Next, I'm going to add some flicker. So I'm just going to collapse the S shake by clicking on the arrow next to it and head over to effects, type in S flicker, which is this one underneath Sapphire time. Directly onto your adjustment layer, head back into effect controls. At the start, set the amplitude to 0.5 and the RAN frequency to 15. Then move your playhead to the next keyframe. So this one that we just made for our S shake, set the amplitude to 0.1. Head to the next keyframe and set this to 0.5 and repeat. So to the end, 0.1. play it back and see how it looks. If you're happy with it, you can leave it as it is. However, I'm going to make some further adjustments. So I'm going to do the exact same thing as we did for S shake. Right click the second keyframe, ease in, right click again, ease out, and right click the last keyframe, ease in. And this is what it looks like so far. Now I am going to make some extra adjustments to my S shake. So I'm just going to collapse flicker and open up S shake once more. For example, let's say I wanted a bit more tilt. I'm going to increase the wave amp to 2 from 1 to 2. So let's see how this looks. Nice, not bad at all. I actually like this version much more, and I can increase the frequency as well. So if I just turn it up to 1, let's see how that looks. Okay, I think I prefer 0.5, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And let's also maybe increase the Y shake and also the X shake just by a few values. And here's how it looks. You can see it's much stronger than before. Okay, now let's turn this into a low frequency shake. So we don't really need to do much other than change the frequency at the top to something lower, like 4 or 6. So let me try 4 for now and see how that looks. Okay. Now you may have noticed that the flicker is too strong, and I am going to turn that down in a second, but there are a few issues. For example, there's way too much mirror here at the bottom, and depending on your clip, it might be more noticeable, so you want to get rid of that. You can do this by simply decreasing the amount of Y shake. So I'm going to just cut it down to about, let's go, yeah, 50 or 60. And the X shake, I'm also going to decrease to about 15. And also, I forgot to do something else. I'm going to increase the blur length for the motion blur to about 0.25, just so it looks smoother. In fact, let's go even higher. Let's go for 1. So just to give an overview, if you want to go for a low frequency shake, you simply need to turn down the frequency. So cut it down by half the amount. So I went from 8 to 4. Turn down the round amps for the X and for the Y. Increase the wave amp for the tilt if you would like to. And finally, I'm just going to collapse the S shake. You want to open up S flicker. I'm going to set the round frequency from 15 to 5. And if you want to, you can leave it as it is. So let's just see how this looks like so far. I think it looks really good, but if you want to increase its visibility, then increase the amplitude at the beginning from 0.5 to 0.75. So from 0.75 to 0.1, and then up to, you can leave 0.5 if you like, or even go for maybe 1. It's just going to make it brighter. So from this to that, but the actual strength of the flicker is controlled by the frequency. So because it's set to 5, you can see it looks much more delicate. And finally, it's time for impact. So let's just take a look at how it looks so far, which is, pretty good. But if we add on these adjustment layers, take a look at how it looks. You can see that they scale out at the beginning of each shake. So to do this, you want to add on warp transform to another adjustment layer on top of your shakes. So remember, this one is completely separate. It's a new adjustment layer. And since my shakes are currently low frequency, I'm going to make these scale out minimal, if that makes sense. So at the moment, let's just go for maybe 0.75 for the Z dist at the start. So I'm going to keyframe that head 1, 2, 3, 4 frames ahead, and then reset to 1. Open up the graph and copy what I do. So I'm just going to pull this to the left, down, and make sure it's on level, not too high or too low, just there, and let go. It should look like this. Now the adjustment layer doesn't actually have to be this long. You can just cut it down like that. So it should be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames long. Or is that 5? Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames long. So now I've got this zoom out effect, which you can just copy over to your other shake on top of it. So I'm just going to hold Alt on my keyboard, click and drag it, place it on top, and as a result, you can see your shakes have more impact. So yeah, now if I had a high frequency shake like this, then my values would be slightly different. So instead of 0.75 for the Z dist, it would be 0.5. Or if you want to, you can go for even lower, like 0.25, and then duplicate the adjustment layer on top of your other shake. And this is what it looks like, which is awesome. If you would like 50 Jugg shake presets, then you can grab my editing pack in the description below. There are manual shakes, there are S shakes, there are one frame glitches, perfect for your edits, AMVs, or even gaming edits. It's on sale until the end of April, so grab it while it's available. Thank you to my monthly supporters as always for your continued support. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.